Ted Lasso is an American sports comedy drama television series developed by Jason Sudeikis, Bill Lawrence, Brendan Hunt, and Joe Kelly, based on the character that Sudeikis first portrayed in the series of promotional media for NBC Sports coverage of England's Premier League. The show follows Ted Lasso, an American college football coach who is hired to coach an English soccer team with the secret intention that his inexperience will lead to its failure, but whose folksy, optimistic leadership proves unexpectedly successful. The first season of 10 episodes premiered on Apple TV Plus on August 14, 2020, with initially 3 episodes airing, followed by weekly installments. A second season of 12 episodes premiered on July 23, 2021. In October 2020, the series was renewed for a third season, which premiered on March 15, 2023. The series has received critical acclaim, with particular praise for its performances, that particularly of Sudeikis, Hannah Wannington, Brett Goldstein, and Juno Temple. The humour, writing, and themes of uplifting tones were also complimented. Among other accolades, its first season was nominated for 20 Primetime Emmy Awards, becoming the most nominated first-season comedy in Emmy Award history. Sudeikis, Wanningham, and Goldstein won for their performances, and the series won the 2021 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy Series. Sudeikis also won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Television Series, Musical or Comedy, and the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Comedy Series. The cast includes Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso, an American college football coach from Wichita, Kansas, who's hired to coach AFC Richmond, an English soccer team. He is frequently ridiculed for his folksy optimism and inexperience with the sport, but gradually wins people over through his kind, hopeful, and compassionate approach to coaching. Hannah Wannington as Rebecca Welton, the new owner of AFC Richmond. She initially hires Lasso as a ploy to sabotage the team, but eventually comes to appreciate him and becomes a mentor and a friend to Keely Jones. Jeremy Swift as Leslie Higgins, a timid but playful director of football operations. He has a large family with 5 sons. Phil Dunster as Jamie Tart, a talented but egotistical young and up-and-coming striker. Brett Goldstein as Roy Kent, a veteran box-to-box midfielder, captain, and later assistant coach of AFC Richmond. Kent is primarily based on hot-headed Irish former footballer Roy Keane. Brendan Hunt as Coach Beard, Lasso's grounded, laconic long-time assistant and friend from Peoria, Illinois. In the third season finale, his first name is revealed to be Willis. Nick Mohammed as Nate Shelley, AFC Richmond's former kitman turned assistant coach, who becomes publicly known as the Wonder Kid. He becomes the head coach of West Ham United until he quits mid-season. Juno Temple as Keely Jones, an ambitious model who becomes the club manager of marketing and public relations before starting her own firm. Anthony Head as Rupert Mannion, Rebecca's vindictive, philandering ex-husband, the former owner of AFC Richmond and the current owner of West Ham United. Tohib Jomai as Samuel Sam Obasana, a young Nigerian right-back, later converted to right-winger. Christopher Fernandez as Danny Rojas, an enthusiastic young forward from Mexico who joins midway through the first season after recovering from an injury. Billy Harris as Colin Hughes, a young Welsh left-winger who is initially closeted. And James Lance as Trent Crim, a sceptical reporter formerly working for The Independent before being fired in the second season after revealing Nate was an anonymous source who leaked Ted's panic attack in the third season. He's writing a book about the club, ultimately titled The Richmond Way. Jason Sudeikis originally portrayed the title character in 2013 as part of a series of television commercials for NBC Sports, promoting the coverage of the Premier League, in which Lasso depicted a new head coach of Tottenham Hotspur FC. In 2015, Sudeikis' then-girlfriend, Olivia Wilde, suggested that he revisit the character, perhaps in a story in which Lasso found his career direction change. Whereas the original Lasso was more broadly comic, and Sudeikis described him as belligerent, he decided to make Lasso more sympathetic for the television series, explaining his reason for doing so in May 2023 in the interview with The Guardian. He said, "It was the culture we were living in. I'm not terribly active online, and it even affected me. Then you have Donald Trump coming down the escalator. I was like, okay, this is silly. And then what he unlocked in people. I hated how people were listening to one another. Things became very binary, and I don't think that's the way the world works. As a new parent, we had our son Otis in 2014. It was like, boy, I don't want to add to this. Yeah, I just didn't want to portray that kind of person." One of the show's runners, Bill Lawrence, has indicated that Ted Lasso would likely be a 3-season show due to Sudeikis' limited availability beyond their third season, and that the story had planned a resolution within those 3 seasons. In June 2022, Brett Goldstein also commented that the series would end after 3 seasons. "We are writing it like that." In March 2023, Sudeikis said that the third season is the end of the story that we wanted to tell, and that there are possibilities for spin-offs. In October 2021, Apple TV Plus reached a licensing deal with Premier League worth as much as £500,000 or $682,000 for the series to feature the league's logos, kits and trophies starting from the third season. On March 6, 2022, a day before filming for the Season 3 began, Nike Incorporated posted on its official Twitter account a photo of its trademark swoosh logo incorporated onto the AFC Richmond kit, implying the show's production had reached a deal with the company to act as a fictional club's official kit manufacturer on future episodes. Some sources have noted the similarities between the character of Ted Lasso and Terry Smith, an American football head coach who became the first American to be a manager or head coach of a professional English soccer club, namely Chester City. Nick Mohammed, who plays Nate Shelley, originally auditioned for the role of Leslie Higgins, which in the end went to Jeremy Swift. Theo Park, series casting director, pushed for Phil Dunster to play the role of Jamie Tart, even though the character was originally supposed to be from Latin America and portrayed by Cristo Fernandez, who of course went on to portray Danny Rojas. AFC's Richmond training field and complex in which Rebecca's office is based is filmed at the SkyX Community Stadium, which is the home of the ground of Hayes and Yedding United FC. Whereas Nelson Road, the home stadium for Richmond, is actually Selhurst Park, the Blue Life Premier League stadium used by London club Crystal Palace. The series filmed on location in Amsterdam for the third season. With the emergence of Nate becoming West Ham United's head coach during Season 3, the club's London stadium was used also for filming. Stamford Bridge, the home of Chelsea, was also used, but sparked controversy amongst the Chelsea supporters after the show's editing team modified a memorial banner for the late Chelsea player Ray Wilkins that was paid for by the club supporters. The banner, which reads "They don't make them like Ray anymore," was changed to read Roy, to time with the storyline of Richmond coach Roy Kent returning to his old club. Owner Todd Bowley released a statement apologising to the fans and to Wilkins' family, claiming the deal with Apple was agreed to before he had purchased the club. Now, this has always been one of those shows that have taken me back somewhat. There are so many aspects of Ted Lasso that I've really found myself enjoying. On the outset, though, it's not a typical show that I would really find myself liking, but it has a way of winning you over with its charm, wit, and all-around good charisma. And of course, being a big football fan myself, I enjoyed the aspects of football that are tie-ins. Now, Ted Lasso's third and possibly final season does take some time, though, to find its hold. But of course, there are plenty of times to make you laugh and make you smile and even make you feel somewhat introspective. It is quite a deeply written show and makes some very good valid points, if maybe sometimes just pushing the agenda of smolchiness a bit too strongly. There are some really highlights in the season. For example, I love the episode where the team play away in Ajax, and of course the whole episode revolves around the wonderful Amsterdam. But where Season 3 really does go amiss, though, is in terms of the expanded episode run times, its pacing, and of course it's also its characterization. There are times the show can be bumbling, it can be a bit tedious and a bit over the top, compared to its much more tightly paced first two seasons. It's almost like the writers had run out of ideas and were just making the third season to complete the trilogy, as it were. I mean, there's no need for these episodes to run almost movie length. And especially when there are 12 episodes as well, the series maybe just felt a little bit too long in the tooth to get to its eventual point. For example, there was too many subplots, like I really just didn't find myself caring for Keely Jones or Nate's subplots in this one. At the end of the day, the main story has to revolve around AFC Richmond, but the show was trying to dig too deep into finding other little storylines to move around it, and it almost played out a bit melodramatic and almost like a soap opera at times. The show moved away from its sort of sitcom, comedy-based sports show, with a bit of drama in between. In the third season, the show almost wants to take itself too seriously, and it wants to almost become like a prestige drama per se. Look, on paper, a character like Ted Lasso would never really work for me. Frankly, he can be downright annoying at times, but it's through the charming performance here by Sudeikis that really made him work. And of course, intertwining the American sort of naivety per se of this character into the British wit and charm really made the show sort of stand out. For me, this show is a pure example of too much can maybe be not a good thing. Whereas Season 1 and Season 2 was good, tight-paced television, this one, like I said, maybe just goes a little bit too long and tries too hard and tries to teach us too many lessons along the way. Don't get me wrong, there are many parts to enjoy in this show, and overall, like I said, it is a well-made show with some good stories, but I found they could have easily cut down on the show's running length, and also you really did not need 12 episodes. This is where the mastery of editing kicks in. Over the 3 seasons, I fundamentally enjoyed the Ted Lasso show, but I can't say I'm sad to see the end of it, and I found Season 3 maybe just a little bit too bloated for its own good. In saying that, though, the acting is good and there are some enjoyable storylines, and there are plenty of times that made me laugh, and there are a lot of characters, particularly Roy Kent, whom I really enjoyed immensely, but there's also, for every good character, there's so many annoying ones as well, and I got a bit schmaltzy and a bit too feel-good for my liking, almost playing out like a Hallmark movie per se. Overall, Ted Lasso is a well-made and good comedy that became a really big drama. It's got a fundamentally good storyline with some good laughs, but maybe took itself a little bit too seriously at times. Ted Lasso Season 3 gets a 7 out of 10.